Hey guys, welcome to NRL Fantasy Round 10. I'm joined here today, as always, with Mr. Ryan. Run us through round 9.
Yeah, fun week for some. Well, most actually, I guess. 10:29. Sorry, 11:29 even. Just a crazy score. Yeah, I mean, you got pretty close to that. I didn't, but we'll see. We'll see in these slides here.
Okay. I had 25 trades remaining, which was 5 more than the average in the top 1,000. I also had my best week, but I'll get to that in a second. I did no trades. I should have done some. I should have gone Ryley and Erin, which I will be doing this week. And blessing in disguise was that I couldn't move Toya to one of these people that I wanted, and he went out and got 98. So can't complain there. But yeah, best score I've ever gotten, and my round 9 rank was in the 10,000s, which shows just how crazy last week was for everyone. We picked the wrong captain going on Terrell May. No complaints from him, but it would have been nicer to have gotten Cleary's score or Payne Haas. But beautiful week. No Toya, which was in my emergencies, which I think you suffered the same fate, didn't you?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Kiraz with 102 comes in massive for me. And my weekly move up 579 with my new record rank. Trade history is pretty shallow. Only used 11, and I will be looking to use them this week. I need a hooker and I need mids. Nothing different to last week. Aaron's going to come in for me because he's great buy coverage. He's got the dual. Ryley with the same thing, and they can both sort of sub in and out of hooker as I need. And Lucas, who I previously owned this year but had to go due to his injury, I'll get him back in because he's a must-have center, I think, by the end of the year. Preston's out for 4 weeks. Mamo is out 3 to 6, and low trust Vaongi. So those are the people I'm trading out. And considering I have 4 Roosters on buy, there's not really much strategy. Maybe changing captaincy off May, probably not because he's that guy. But that's all for me.
All right. So my 10, unfortunately, well, still actually last week was it? Oh god, last week's trades. Yeah, so traded out Jenkins who got 70, the bloody bastard. Anyway, good trades though. Now considering how his team, currently looks, but no Mamo. So yeah, we got that. Obviously, Watson went low as well. So overall, 2 pretty good trades, I think. But team wise, though, started Sandon Smith, got -2, just started the whole week off just terribly. Apart from that, obviously, still 10-26, so pretty good score, but just needed a little bit more from that bench spot. And then obviously no Kiraz. There was no Drinkwater either. And the wrong captaincy, which I think hurts me a bit more than you, considering I'm probably in I'm in those lower ranks, and so it probably was a bit more variance in captains. It kind of like in that area compared to the top 5,000. So look, a good week, but still just kind of slowly falling further and further behind from the top. It's a bit annoying, which you can see there. Have used quite a few trades, but my team's in a pretty good spot with a lot of guys that people are trying to bring in now. So I guess that is one good thing. My current trade plans for this week is, again, using 3 trades, but I kind of have to at this point just to field a strong 17. So I'll see some of you, Mamo and Preston out, Smith out now as well, just to obviously get rid of a red dot. And then some interesting buy-ins, a few pods, I guess, in Thompson and KPP. We'll discuss Thompson later, but Kuipers Paul, just a great option, really consistent at the moment. I'm considering Drinkwater over him just because of his buy schedule after 12 is so good. And I'm actually already set for round 12 backs. So it's a bit of a toss off there. But I don't know. Just again, still trying to chase points at the moment, which is kind of why I'm still trading quite aggressively. And at least this plan. So I'll be able to loop this week, thankfully, even though the loop isn't that good because King-Togia plays later than everyone else that I already have. So it kind of is a bit of a waste, but should still be able to get a strong 17 score. And now on to the buys.
Yes. Just quickly, touching on your looping, you can move your Roosters players further up the chain, I think, to maximize your value a little bit. Correct.
But I don't think it really matters because I've only got one player, like, only got one spot to fill.
True.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that is wrong at the moment, but it'll be Sabalo ahead of Ryley Smith.
Yep.
But
also, I think going on to the buy hold sells, we didn't actually do a card for Kiraz. So before we talk about Ryley, I want to touch on Kiraz. I've owned him for a couple weeks now. He got 102, I think it was, and he has a great buy schedule. If I remember off the top of my head, I think he's top 2 in center/wing fullback scoring. And I think there's a good chance that he doesn't make Origin. I think Toto and Lomax currently are the front runners for that role. It becomes a bit more risky now that he's gained cash and that he is a possibility, but he's, like I've said before, he's rocks and diamonds, and last week we got diamonds. So I think Kiraz is a great option if you're looking to fill that position. Moving on now to Ryley Smith, who you bought last week. And I touched on it just briefly before. He's got that hooker role locked down now with Hopgood going back to lock, number 13 playing mostly pretty much all of his minutes there. At the start there, Ryley wasn't getting as many minutes in hooker as we would have liked, and it's looking more like he's getting 70 to 80 now. With his price at that point as well, his break-even low and the coverage, you can't go wrong with picking him up, especially with Mamo Zealous out now.
yeah, definitely. I think probably the best option for hooker just because of the value. But I also wouldn't expect those sort of points as well going forward. It was pretty good for him. Then Scotty Drinkwater. Just for me, it's kind of like it's the last week you can buy him. And the problem on my side is that players like Kiraz, Tedesco, and Drinkwater all went big last week. And so if you miss out on them again, you kind of miss the boat. And it'll be so important to have post round 12, if not missing another game until round 27. So I'm just considering getting on this week. As you can see, there's 61 average in the last 5 games, which is huge. He's doing everything. He's getting offloads, tackle breaks, kicking the ball a lot, getting goals. So it's the last week to buy him. So that's kind of where I'm getting tempted. But what do you think?
Yeah, that upsets me that a little bit because I would love to have him on my team, but right now I have to focus on mids. And I think a lot of people are in the same just with Haas and May going out. So I think, yeah, if you don't have someone like Kiraz and Teddy, or I guess even Fletcher Sharpe, there's so many options of those people and Scotty Drinkwater to pick up now. I might actually be looking into him after that round 12, 13. But Kiv said his price definitely will be getting pretty much up to peak value. And I suppose around that time as well, Ponga might be starting to become a buy after Origin. So, yeah.
It is tough. It is tough. I guess as well, Teddy's on a buy this week, so I could buy Teddy next week potentially. If we learn like a little bit more about the Origin side and that sort of thing. So it's all about up in the air at the moment. But I feel like you need kind of 2 out of Teddy, Drinkwater, Kiraz, Sharpe, 2 or 3 of those you kind of need over this buy period.
Yeah, I agree with that. Erin Clarke, who I did also touch on buying. I don't think we really need to say much about him. He's been a buy for like 3 weeks now. His PPM is through the roof. He's been getting around 60 minutes. There's a bit of a worry that when James Fisher-Harris comes back, he might get reduced minutes. But once again, with that mid and hooker role well needed right now, low break even, and he's just performing, can't go wrong. And he's someone I'm looking forward to getting into my side.
Yeah, I mean, obviously at this point now, you're just buying more for points than actual value. I still think you probably can average 55 over the Origin period, depending on how long you can keep him for, which is kind of value enough, really, just to have that good drill position and some good scoring. So
yeah, well, I guess over this Origin period, you need at least 2 hookers, really, unless you plan on not playing a hooker for 1 round, which I think is silly. I think, you win fantasy by getting points. You should be filling out every position if you can. So I think Ryley and Erin Clarke is probably the safest and best option at the moment for those 2 hookers.
yeah, and then you probably sell at least one of them in round 15 anyway.
Yeah,
so
sure.
Then up next is Leo Thompson, who obviously a bit of a pot at the moment, only 2.3% ownership. I've seen some other creators sort of talk about him, but he's actually been quite good this year. And if you look at his games, he has one low score of 35 and 41, but that was both with the first game was an MCL sort of strain that he got, and then the game against the Warriors in round 8, he got his penalty sin bin. Even though he actually was on 47 points with 41 minutes in that game before the sin bin, and then he got subbed up straight after that. So he's averaging about 50, 52, I think. And so kind of a bit of sneaky value there. So he plays all the way through to round 18. He's a main mid in that Knights pack now that Daniel Saifidi left last year, or left this off season. So I just kind of think like low ownership, good minutes, good PPM so far. Kind of just a bit of a, I think a great value option.
Yeah. Yeah, I see the value, and I agree. I guess everyone in the Knights jersey now pretty much is a value option. Great buy schedule there. I don't think they might lose Ponga to Origin, but apart from that, the whole team will be pretty strong. They'll be a threat during this period.
Yep. And then secondary as well, obviously Jacob Saifidi, who is still at the Knights, 230k less expensive, and also a great option as well, who's had some injury games, dot bet like 100k in cash. So I think you probably do want at least one of those two guys going forward, just to give you that good buy coverage.
I guess similar. I don't know if I'm gonna follow suit with that. What you said there, having at least two of those mids. I have
one of those.
Sorry. Yeah, I still have a different option later that I'll want to talk about, but the mids are low. Anyway, Dylan Lucas, as I said, Newcastle Knight. Once again, he's been a buy for weeks. He's the second highest centre average, great schedule, and he has that centre dual while being a forward. So his base is basically the safest out of probably all centres in the whole comp. I guess you could throw Herbie Farmworth in there, but I think Herbie's a bit of a luxury trade at the moment. This is just a safer option, in my opinion.
Sure. I mean, I'm not sure what his current ownership's at, but surely it's going to be up around 20-30% in the next 2 weeks, right? Because it's just absolutely great option, so reliable, and actually plays well in real life as well. So,
and you'll want him at the end of the year. I think he's one of the two you definitely want.
Yeah, then King-Togia, good game from him, 47 last week. I initially wasn't that keen in them on Monday, pre-TLT, but I think just the amount of cash that it frees up, he doesn't have to do a lot to make you money. And I think that game was probably a bit of a peak game for him. It's like 18 points just from attacking stats, and also a turnover try. So 20 points just from not the most reliable sort of output. But I don't know. I mean, again, he's 260k, so you make a lot of money. He looks pretty good in real life, and it seems like he has the trust of the coach for the time being. So he's someone that can just probably keep for the next 5-6 weeks, whatever, and then I don't know, sell him then. But I don't know. It's just a good time to sort of cash down as well, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. And I guess later in the year, even this time of year, sometimes people cash down just to the lowest that they can, just to free up cash. And he's someone that will make you cash at the same time. I do agree. I guess his base stats are a bit frightening. I think he only had a couple of points from run meters and kick meters, and his position isn't definitely locked down. Like Ilias still could come back, but at 260k, like there's literally nothing you can do wrong. They're showing a 30k premium for an absolute cash down. So if you need cash, he's the best option. This is the man I was wanting to talk about, and this is probably the route I'll take as opposed to Thompson. Currently, I do have 4 Raiders though, so we'll probably have to make some strategic decisions. But Tapine has been going crazy. He's been averaging the 7th highest fantasy score this year. He has great coverage as well. Won't be selected for Origin because he is Maori, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Sure.
And he does extremely well historically during the Origin period. A lot of the time, his numbers actually his price decreases, and then over that Origin period, when a lot of the sort of star forwards aren't playing against him, he consistently gets more points. So interesting to see if he continues that this year. But regardless, as you said, chasing points now rather than cash, and 7th highest You don't really need to think much more about it.
I guess my only concern for him is that the last 2 seasons, his PPM's been almost like exactly 1. And right now for this season, sitting at 1.12. So averaging 54 minutes a game. And long term, you could maybe see that which come down a bit, but obviously you are still getting a 50 plus average in mid. So it's not too bad, is it? Really?
No. I think it's safe. I think that's the most important thing. It's safe points. And the Raiders have been a very good attacking side this year. They've definitely made that jump. So it's not like it's just purely coincidence, in my opinion.
Yeah. Then Fletcher Sharpe, last one, we'll just go quickly. But I think, again, just amazing buy schedule, still at a good price. I understand that people might have their concerns about him positionally, but I just think, again, you need these good wing fullbacks to cover you during Origin. So, obviously, if you already have Drinkwater and Tedesco, Kiraz, you probably could miss him, but if you don't, he's definitely someone that you want inside.
I guess the only worry with him is he goes to wing fullback if Ponga gets selected for Origin. He does score well from wing fullback, but it will likely be less points.
Yeah, only averaged 40 at fullback last year, so that is the concern. But I'd imagine with the way the team's set up, they probably will try and sort it out internally and keep him in the halves. But yeah, obviously, so we'll see.
Jayden Campbell is another similar option, but I think after being off on injury for a while, I think it's better maybe to wait. But he does have a bye, doesn't he, on Origin rounds? So.
Yeah, misses round 12. And I guess as well, I mean, the concern is that if he goes to back-to-back games now, he could be like at 820k round 13. That is a bit of a concern there to buy him. But there is Kieran Foran back soon as well, who could interrupt his kicking meters a little bit. So, that's true. Don't want to but still a good choice though.
Let's move on to some holds. Like last week, just want to point out Rob Toyer. I think I mentioned last week in the video, watch him go crazy because the same thing happened to Sam Smith.
Do that.
Anyway, Rob Toyer, I think, is a hold this week just because of how low his break even will be, and he will have great coverage over the next few weeks.
Yep. And Tonga, I think. I mean, look, it's not bad to sell him, but I think for now he's folding until he starts losing you some serious cash. Like he's playing fine. He's going to average probably 30 to 40 and play on the edge. So I don't know. I mean, especially this week, there are way more other players that you can sell ahead of him.
Yeah, for sure. And I think similar for Horsburgh, there's so many other players you can sell. I think a lot of people, both of us particularly, we have 4 Roosters. A lot of people have, 2 or 3 at least. You want to have the best points possible this week. And Horsburgh, although he might not hit his break even, he will definitely be getting those 40 to 50 points if he continues as he has been this year. And there is whispers, there is rumors I've heard of people who think he might not get picked for Origin. I think he will get picked for Origin personally, but considering that, it's definitely worth. Anyway.
So what holding just to find out?
Then it'll be a great option over Origin if he is not playing.
Yeah. And then Hubner as well. I mean, back a lock this week now, so he kind of ends up being a bit of a good hold over the whole Origin period. I think it was averaging in the 40s starting a lock, so he still has about like 100k to make, 150k to make. So he's someone that I think this is around 12, which is a bit annoying, but then plays way through around 19. So he actually is someone that kind of becomes a bit like quite important in our buy planning if he keeps his position. So definitely hold him this week. Try again through around 13, and then obviously come decide what you're going to do then.
Yeah, I wonder if he'll even start becoming a buy in some eyes in the future, depending on how he's up.
Possibly, yeah.
So yeah, definitely a hold. And then Purdue, I was actually thinking of selling him this week, but I had other people that needed to go, especially with Preston and Mamo. I think he can do more. I've been a bit annoyed because every time I've played him, he's gotten low scores, and every time I've emergencied him, he's gotten high scores. So he doesn't have that consistency that you look for, or that I look for in a center. But he definitely has those games where he can go crazy, and his break even's not too bad. So he's a hold or sell, depending on what your pivots are.
Yep. And then obviously, yeah. And then obviously for sales, Preston and Namazels, obviously. I mean, Preston in particular, obviously it's super frustrating, but he now won't play to around 15 with their buy. So it's just way too much cash to hold through an important period, such as the origin period. And same thing with Mamazelos. Like if this was like early on in the season, probably do hold. But right now you need players playing every week and to give you that good coverage. So unfortunately they just both sells.
Yeah, and I guess same for Sandon, right? I suppose he's got that head knock last week, a negative. His break evens now. He lost cash last week after getting 70.
He does. I think like quite a lot as well. I think, which is pretty crazy. It was like 14K I think for that. It's kind of sucked, but anyway.
Yeah, it is very rough. I'm certainly a little bit happy about it because I sold him a few weeks ago. But yeah, I think out of these three, definitely Preston and Mamazelos are the main ones to be selling. I think some people could be holding Sandon, I guess, depending on what your half coverage is. But he's more simple.
I just don't think he can really. But okay.
Well, yeah, especially with the buy this week. Yeah, it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. Purdue we touched on, and then do you want to talk about Ions?
I'm particular.
Enough.
So sold 5 weeks ago.
There's much to talk about. I probably should have sold him 5 weeks ago as well, but I had a bit of faith he'd kick up when Moses came back, and it hasn't looked like he has. So yeah, I think he's a good pivot option for me now, and for anyone who's owning him.
Yeah. I mean, like there's so many players he can sell this week just because there's so many good buys as well. But I feel like 5 guys there are going to be particularly on a lot of people's trade out list.
Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely time to start planning for buy schedules. It's not a time to be looking for money generation or anything like that. I have a couple friends I know who have absolutely not planned at all, and they'll be in for a rough few weeks. So don't fall into that trap. All right, Asesh, if you guys have any trades that you're considering, chuck it in the comments below, and we'll get back to you on our thoughts. Good luck for the week, and we'll see you in the next one.
thanks, guys.